Path of Night is an actual play Vampire the Masquerade podcast set in the world of darkness. We're all friends, we're here to have fun, but our story can include graphic violence, drug use, sexual content, and other mature themes. Content warnings can be found in the show notes. We talk at our table about safety, comfort, and consent, both as players and storytellers. We know what to expect, we're all excited to be here, and we want you to feel the same. So listener discretion is advised. Now let's walk the Path of Night.
Last time on Path of Night. The coterie split after their meeting with Pendragon. Neil followed Wynn after she stormed off. Lucian's mind control inflicted a terrible pain on Wynn when the gangrel spoke too much of her secret commands. Miles asked Britta to secure Pendragon further as an ally. The coterie recollected themselves and attempted to pull together before the War Council begins.
There's a knock at the bathroom.
Come in.
Britta peeks in. Hey.
I'm not mad at you. I just want to be very clear about that.
I just didn't want you to be alone. Do you want to be in here, or...?
We seem to have really good talks in bathrooms, so I'm fine with it if you are.
Honestly, when I, just kind of wanted to spend some time with you.
Okay. She kind of pats the tile floor next to her, still kind of worrying at the pillow.
Do we invite Neil, or...?
Yeah, we can do that.
It's okay, I can hear you guys.
Yeah, we know.
I'll pretend that I can't.
No, you won't, because you'll bring it up later.
Come here.
Come on.
Neil walks into the bathroom and, having been called out on pretense, looks at Wynn and goes, I told you people wanted to spend time with you.
Can you bring some more pillows?
Walks back out of the bathroom and then comes in with like a gangly armful of every pillow in the room.
Oh.
I didn't know which ones were the right ones to bring in, so
honestly, none of them are ours, so none of them are the right ones, but these'll do.
Let's just take a minute.
Okay, what are we doing?
We're hanging out.
Oh.
Hanging out in the bathroom with a bunch of pillows. Let's put these in the tub and we can all sit in there.
Look, things are gonna get nuts. I know you gotta get set up for a ritual and all of that, but we can't do a lot of that right now.
No, I'm set.
So let's just... I just want to hang out with you guys. I just want to spend some time while I can.
Do you mind if I ask you sex questions in front of Neil?
I'm gonna go outside.
He'll probably be back.
No, I won't.
I'm not... Neil, you don't have to...
No, this feels like girl talk.
Do you want to be part of Girl Talk?
I don't know how to answer that.
Do you want in on the information we are about to share?
The door opens. Neil's standing in the doorway.
Well, then come and sit in the bathtub with us.
Not a fair way to put that. I'm not going to sit in the tub with you.
Well, then sit on the toilet or something.
He goes over and sits on the toilet.
Do you want a pillow?
No.
She holds one out.
Says a little huffily, and he takes one when she hands it up.
Look, it's, I'm not sure what to say or what not to say, but I guess I'm kind of glad that you're both here, you guys specifically, because, I mean, when you're the one that talked to me about how Kindred 6 worked, and Neil, I guess there's been a lot that we haven't talked about.
Has there?
You came to get me at the gala.
Yeah. You were kidnapped.
Yeah, and, things have been so breakneck that I don't know if we've ever talked about what that meant to either of us.
I mean, you were taken away. We needed to get you back. You needed to be there. I mean, I guess I had some questions about sort of the air and attitude and body language that you had when you found out I was there, and in relation to you walking with Pendragon. But I feel like a lot of those questions have kind of been answered by subsequent events, I guess, for me.
A lot of this has been so confusing. Neil, when you got there, I was so scared.
Yeah, it was terrifying.
But it wasn't just because of the circumstance I was in. It was also because I was kind of mad at you.
Yeah, I got that impression. I never quite understood why, outside of just the impression that you didn't really want to be rescued.
I did want to be rescued.
Okay, well, I guess that brings up more questions for me then. Why were you mad?
You got there and there was so much pressure on me because I knew that if I did anything wrong that you guys were gonna die. And then you were kind of doing what you wanted to do to try to get me back, and...
Yeah?
And that meant that you were gonna die if you did anything wrong.
I guess we have different recollections of that event then.
No.
Because I mean, that sounds to me very, like I went into that understanding that you were basically a hostage and was looking to sneak the hostage away. And then when I found the hostage was like, hey, no thank you. Not with words, but sort of the way that you, I don't know, like when you were sort of clinging to him coming down the stairs and deliberately avoiding looking at me, and that sort of thing where, from how it looked, you were more interested in being there with Prince Pendragon than grasping at an opportunity to get out.
And you still don't get that was to keep you alive too? No,
I don't. I don't see how that would play in, or at least our goals were, I wasn't going to leave without you. It just wasn't going to happen. So, I guess I don't understand.
Britta, did Pendragon make some threat of some sort about us if you didn't behave?
The threat was always there. You remember Boston. If you guys... If we leave Boston, he'll summon and kill us.
But that was Boston, which he basically shadow ran, and Rhode Island wasn't the same. There was a Warwick stronghold, and as much as it might not always seem like it, I mean, I had connections to Warwick and the Nosferatu. That was a stronghold of my people, not his. That's why I asked Fester to go. I got an invitation to be brought. I knew there could have been repercussions, but I did everything by a book, if not Pendragon's book.
At first, I was so scared of what would happen to me and what would happen to you guys, and some of that's still there. I mean, it's why the first thing I said is that I'm confused. It's a hard thing to balance. It's a hard thing to balance feeling everything that I've felt in a row. Feeling like I was under threat, and then going through every step of the way. I mean, coming back here, it's put a lot of things into perspective, but muddled other things. Like when I went to that gala, I was hoping that I could behave well enough that you guys would be safe. that if I looked and acted the part, that I could keep you guys alive. And then things got even more confusing, and I don't know, feelings, they happen, and sometimes I feel so wrong about it. I feel like I'm the reason that Elsa's dead.
Well, I mean, that's not true. Carmen killed her.
But I made her panic.
Why do you think you made her panic?
As I said, the Sabbat was coming.
But they were coming. And the entire scenario there was intended to make people panic. You can't take that on your own shoulders. We all panicked. I panicked. You heard the screams and the whole point of the thing, the invasion, whatever you want to call it, that it was designed to cause panic.
But I should have known better after she froze up when the werewolf was dropped off at our court.
But that was because of the werewolf. That was a werewolf specific, not a Sabbat specific.
I guess I'm bringing up Elsa partly because she was trying to get me away from Pendragon too. Then
that was her last request of me, is to get you out, get you away. It's not why I showed up, but once I got there, it was why I was so insistent. Her final request before she died was to get you away from him.
And she was gonna help, and sometimes it makes me feel really guilty every step up to feeling what I'm feeling, but I am feeling something, and I want to explore this feeling too. And I know sometimes it makes me feel monstrous and fucked up that I do feel something for him, and I don't know why, if that just means that I'm a monster too.
Britta, we all are.
Yeah, that was what I was going to say too.
And I want to hammer home for you that you are not responsible for the choices people make.
Yeah.
Elsa made choices that led her to die. Warwick made some choices that led a whole mansion of people to die.
Yeah, that one was even deliberate.
Yeah.
So, I just want you to know, as far as Elsa, Elsa went knowing, she was not a friend to Operation Longbow, and she knew for a fact that was a stronghold of Operation Longbow. Did she know this about we're going to attack? No, none of us did, but she went with her eyes open to that place, and I kind of got to hammer home that so did I, right? If I had died there, it wouldn't have been your fault. I walked in knowing that was a possibility. There was a strong possibility, probably, but I don't know, as someone who's been taken away and quietly taken on burdens for the good of the people I care about, I to me, and maybe I'm projecting onto you, to me the first part about it was always being alone, and I just wanted you to know that you weren't alone, even if it meant two of us went out rather than one of us. Because, I mean, for me, I would rather that happen. And as far as attraction and all that kind of stuff, I don't know, I'm not the best person to talk to about all that kind of thing, but I don't think either Wynn or I can judge you for, having feelings for the wrong people. We would be huge hypocrites for that.
I would also argue that I don't think your feelings are wrong. I don't think that indulging those feelings in what may be the final nights are wrong.
On the flip side to that, though, so long as you do keep in mind that he is a monster. He's awful. He's an awful, horrific person.
I know you're gonna think that I'm just saying this because we blood bonded each other, but there is good to him too. In the meeting that we just had, I don't know if it really came across that he was willing to do what it took to end Gehenna, even to take on something that would kill him.
So I don't agree with that personally, and that's because my read is that he is willing to do what it takes within the scope of what he does and what he understands. But if we were to say the only thing you could do is to stand aside, if you were to lay down arms, curl into a ball, beg, and die, that it would save us all, he would not do that. But he's absolutely willing to fight because he's a fighter. So I'm not saying that he's not willing to do things that are aligned with the goals that we have, but I would not say that that makes him willing to do anything.
Why do you think that?
Because my read on him is that he is a man who he is. That just the way he was talking in that meeting, he was not willing. I understand that I get fatalistic sometimes, but he was asking for solutions and was not willing to hear that there might not be any.
That's because there are always something you can do, even if it's not going to fix everything. He's a man of action.
Yes. I guess that's what I'm saying. Is so long as what he is asked to do aligns with being a man of action, he's willing to do things.
Curling up in a ball and begging for forgiveness is also an action.
But that's where I don't think he would do it.
And that's where Britta's saying he might be.
I don't know that he'd be willing to do anything.
But you've seen parts of him that...
Anything, maybe not, but things that others wouldn't be willing to do, maybe so. I don't think that he'd be willing to curl up in a ball and beg, no, but I do think that... Look, that's part of what's so confusing about all of this is... It feels like my greatest strength and my greatest weakness all in one. I can listen to people and really hear them, but I also try to really hear them in the way that they want to be heard and be empathetic towards what they're thinking, what they want. So thinking of the good in people, it can... I don't know if that's me wanting so badly to be true to my heart, or if that's me being a fool. It seems to be something that the coterie really needs. It seems like that's what I can really do for you guys. But at the same time, sometimes it seems like it's selfish.
I don't think that it's the worst thing in the world to see the good in monsters, Britta.
So long as you remember that it is in the nature of a monster to be monstrous.
Miles, as things wind down, you find yourself approached by a man in a red coat, recognized to be a member of Roman Pendragon's army. Your Grace, the War Council is meeting. The guest of honor has arrived. Who are you bringing with you to the meeting, sir?
My seneschal, Johnny Saxon.
Very well, he will be retrieved momentarily. He leads you off to the doorway of the room and very quickly heads off to go fetch Johnny. Johnny, you're approached. A similar man, red coat, very much a member of Roman Pendragon's army. Seneschal, the meeting is prepared. His Grace has stated that you will be his guest to this meeting. Are you attending?
I am.
Please, sir, this way.
After you.
He will lead you to the doorway of a large parlor where Miles is waiting for you, all suited up.
Johnny walks up to Miles, kind of gives him a once-over, kind of just less than an appraisal, but more of kind of just like looking after to make sure that he didn't miss anything. Naturally, he hadn't, and Johnny nods at him. I'm ready when you are, bud.
Let's make our way in. And I will open both doors at once and proceed into this chamber. It is a double door. I think it was a double door.
Double door.
Nice.
Actually, Johnny stops you before you open the doors. Allow me. Johnny will open the doors and stand aside for Miles.
Johnny opens the door. Inside, there's over a dozen kindred gathered. A number of them are agents of Roman Pendragon, his various lieutenants that are headed to different areas of the upcoming battle in New York. Almost everyone has laptops that are gathered. There are manila folders. Some are already perusing information. In the center of the room, there's a table where only a handful of kindred are seated. At the head of the table is Roman Pendragon, who is flanked by a pair of his most loyal subjects, one of which is his own child, Cirque. Seated across from him at the table is a man who you do not recognize, but he has dark skin, long curly hair that kind of rests around his shoulders, a thick beard, very dark eyes. He is not dressed in a suit, but instead is wearing like these old like army BDUs. Seated at the table as well is Justicar Lucind, and another face you do not recognize personally, but Miles, you have enough knowledge of the Camarilla to recognize who they must be, because this woman is unusually gorgeous, but there is also something that is just cold and monstrous about her. She looks to be a beautiful lady with alabaster skin, dark blood red hair, and these bright, icy blue eyes. She is dressed in very tight, black, sleek leathers and has these gloves that she wears, all black, that come up past her elbows. You recognize her to be Madame Guy, the Justicar of the Toreador, the most infamously cruel Justicar of them all. She smiles, but it is not a beautiful smile. Oh, it is. It is a beautiful smile, but it isn't one that brings you any comfort. It's the sort of smile you would imagine a spider having for the fly. In the center of the table is an audio device that's meant to essentially be like a speaker for a meeting and someone who might be speaking remotely. One side of the table doesn't have any seats, and it's because on the wall there is a very large television. And it's like one of those big, thick, gigantor blocky TVs. This isn't the age of flat screen.
Right. Is there an obvious spot for me, or?
You have a seat waiting for you right between Madame Guy and Justicar Lucind.
Oh.
Woof. Johnny gives you a quick pat in the back.
I will state, Madame Guy has appearance 6. She is not beautiful in a way that is possible for the human. She also has humanity 2.
It's a very conflicting set of virtues.
She's pretty in the way that a praying mantis is.
Yeah. I will, after assessing the room, quickly move to take my seat, leaving a bow to those that are already there.
Sensing your discomfort, Madame Guy reaches out, takes your hand, and holds it. Johnny, you're escorted to stand behind and to the right of your prince.
So Johnny was probably going to be heading that way anyways, but he definitely gives kind of like a indignant look at his escort.
They kind of try to not flinch for fear of drawing the ire of some of these guests. Madame Guy speaks up. Your Grace, delightful that you can join us. I've heard of some of your escapades and was hoping that I might have the opportunity to meet you. I understand you're a very busy man and don't have very much time. Not anymore. Now, we are joined by the warlord of the Camarilla, Kosh. She gestures to the man who is sitting at one end of the table. It is a disappointment to me that the warlord has been instructed to destroy any kindred who disrupts this meeting or behaves in a manner that Hardestad finds unacceptable. I am deeply jealous of Kosh. I hope you understand.
Does it seem like a good time to talk? Because I've been just
I'm leaving that up to you, buddy.
Okay, I will.
She does not seem to give you indications, kind of just waiting to see what you will do.
Johnny straightens the mention of some of those names, and his eyes start kind of flicking around. He's pretty sure he is... She gestures towards Karsh, the man in the BDUs, correct?
She does.
But he's looking around and kind of just as nervously kind of eyeing the television when she mentions Hardestat.
Without further ado, I believe the man who is hosting this meeting is ready on his end of this continent. And now that it's deep enough into the night, man heads over, turns on the television, and the phone rings. One of the ghouls working the area has the phone answered, and a voice comes through on the speaker that is in the center of the table.
Ah, my boy, you've joined us for the meeting.
Of course, grandsire.
I am so pleased to know that you shall be the face of our war effort here on the East Coast. You bring honor to the clan.
I seek to do nothing else.
I have a gift for you. Madame Guy.
She bows. Of course. She does not let go of your hand,
Yeah.
but reaches kind of like into her cleavage and takes out this needle, like the needle that you would like thread with. And she turns, and on one of your dignitas, particularly the white cross that you wear, the needle is thread behind it and seems to sort of disappear.
Now, as of nightfall tomorrow, the East Coast operation is to begin. His Grace, Roman Pendragon, and allies from Operation Longbow are to besiege the city of New York, directing influences and boots on the ground into the heart of the Sabbat territory. Your objective is to detain the Cardinal of this East Coast, Cardinal Polonia. The details have been shared. The plan is arranged in that regard, but how it pertains to the defense of New Haven is what remains to be discussed. My boy, tell me, Lord of the Camarilla, what do you need to win?
Miles, Johnny, after he asks you that question, you can hear the sounds of this fire poker being used to work the fireplace that currently is not lit in this very large parlor area. And you see that they are crunching up ash and bones in this fireplace. And as you see this bone skull cave and be crushed by this working ghoul, Miles, you recognize a warped iron circlet pin in the fireplace, covered in ash. A hand grips yours just a little tighter, and Madame Guy leans in. Did you see it? I heard it was excruciating.
I know this is going to sound hypocritical. Maybe in my experience, you can want very badly to see the good in someone to the point where you're unable to really, truly internalize the bad.
What if I like that he's monstrous? What if that makes me feel... What if that does make me feel safe? Like everything that I don't like about myself, I know that he would accept it. Like I don't have to worry about all the times that I look in the mirror and I don't know who I am. That's not a problem.
Why are you phrasing that as a what if?
Because I know that you guys... Love isn't a perfect topic for either one of you either. I don't know everything, but... I feel like, when you and Kabir...
Mm-hmm.
Ravnos and Gangrel, you're supposed to hate each other.
Mm-hmm.
But that feels more... romantic. It's not the same as, me really catching feelings for someone that I know hurts people. someone that I know isn't humane, who isn't gonna do the right thing necessarily. Usually isn't.
So, here's where I stand on the issue of you feeling good about how you feel about Pendragon. I love you. And that is without caveat, addendum, knowing everything that I know about you and anything that I will learn about you. And he has taken steps to keep you safe. He makes you happy. He makes you feel safe. The man is repulsive. He is repugnant. I did not choose him to be an ally of mine or a friend. And I don't trust him. But if you have chosen him to feel safe with, then I will give him the benefit of the doubt for you. But I do not see him as anything other than a predator. But I will respect your choice in feeling safe with him.
What if I like him because I'm like him?
Do you really think you're like him? You just got done saying that you can talk to people in a way where they feel heard, they feel seen, and they feel appreciated. Do you think most people feel that way when they talk to him? Do you think most people see him as compassionate?
I don't see him as that.
Okay, so then are you like him? Do you enjoy killing? Did you enjoy your trip into the Tremere Chantry?
I think there's some... Doesn't the beast always enjoy killing a little bit?
It can.
Your beast isn't you.
And if you don't want to enjoy killing, Britta, you've also had some fucked up childhood trauma. You probably need a psychiatrist of some sort. But if you don't want to feel good, like you like killing, that doesn't mean that's how you have to stay. Good people don't worry about being bad.
I'd push back on that.
Well, then go ahead.
Those who really... I'm just going to say in my experience, there are people who think that they are good, that they are doing what is good, that they are even convinced themselves that what they're doing is for the greater good, and they are still horrific monsters who do that kind of good, and they can even struggle with doing what is for the greater good is hard. Am I doing the right thing? And they still do it. I don't... Maybe I'm going too into my own personal experience here, but sometimes if a powerful person comes into your life and sees an empty vessel, they will pour themselves into it until you start believing that what they have poured inside you is you. And it's very hard to extricate yourself from that thinking. And it can take some distance and time and space to pull yourself apart from what they've made you. And the more worried you are about who you are, the further away your core feels, the easier it is for them to pour themselves into you, to the point where even now, if they asked you to do things, it's hard to say no. And Britta, as far as Pendragon and all that is concerned, I'm not necessarily going to agree with, you spending time with him, and I don't think that's a good thing, but it doesn't have to be a good thing, and you don't have to give a shit what I have to say. What I will say is, it is my experience and therefore belief that eventually people like that, people who are removed from humanity, who find righteousness in their own actions, people of action, who pour themselves into you, they eventually ask you to make choices, because it's never just about... Eventually, you don't even get to be you. Eventually, you are just a reflection of them. And when there are outside forces, when there are friends and other loved ones who compete for the attention of or affection of those who... of their own... Well, then then eventually they ask you to make choices, and they make it as hard as possible to make a choice that isn't them.
Wynn has been gripping onto the soap holder that's built into the shower, and as he speaks, she grips harder and harder until it crunches under her grasp with a sudden shattering noise.
And I'm not saying that's even necessarily a bad thing if you do choose one way or another, so long as it's your choice. And I think, at least in terms of Pendragon, as far as you keep in mind that there is good inside of him, because there's good inside of anyone. I mean, if you look deep enough, there is a core of understanding in everyone.
Britta has put gently, if it seems that Wynn would be okay with her hand settling there. A hand at Wynn's side,
She's
trying
fine
to be
with that.
calming.
I guess so long as you keep in mind the danger, even if the danger is fun, don't let the fun totally silence the voice that says, maybe this is too dangerous. Maybe this is a mistake. But again, neither Wynn or I is really somebody to to judge anyone for liking the wrong person.
It feels like every single choice that we have is twisted. And it feels like I want to keep hold of my heart and be true to it in any way that I can. To be true to my heart, to take these moments before war, to get to hang out with you two in a bathroom, and I guess maybe talk about my sex life. I guess that was the original question. I'm sorry.
Is this the part where you want me to leave the room now? Because I don't think I need to be here for this.
I don't think we asked you to
part
leave
of
the
it.
room to start with.
All right.
It's not.
So-
It's not like you don't
I
have a
had-
sex life of some sort,
Look,
Neil.
there's
Next time,
more.
maybe, I don't know, have more blood so you're not starving the next morning. That's...
Britta
Pace
looks
yourself.
like she's been punched in the face.
Pace yourself. What did I say? It's like a basic tip, right? Where we're talking about sex stuff now instead of the emotional stuff. Not that they're not intertwined, but, well, I don't know. He looks at Wynn. I don't know if they're intertwined or not for all of us, but...
Spending blood?
No, emotions and physical, it doesn't matter.
Britta, what's up?
Kind of was still talking about emotional stuff.
Oh, sorry. I didn't catch the...
Then I didn't mean to run out of blood.
It was your first time. As far as any of us know.
It's nothing to be embarrassed about.
But I am embarrassed.
You don't need to be. And I know you are.
But I could have hurt someone.
Well, that's why this is different than the gala. Because we're around.
Mm-hmm.
You're not alone. You've got backup. That's what a coterie is.
And almost is a fancy word for didn't.
You have good instincts. You went, you found Johnny, who can, what are you gonna do? It's Johnny. Could pick you up off, hold you at arm's length. It was a good move. It was smart.
But I'm getting pretty good at wiggling out of his grip.
Good. That's a good skill to have.
Not in that circumstance.
And then you find Wynn, or me, or Miles.
Britta, do you want to know why I said I needed you to stop being sexy and just feed you already the other night?
What?
I don't know if I... Do I?
So, I went to feed the other night on the way back to the house while you and Miles were still in torpor.
Mm-hmm.
And I popped up on this couple in the park that were necking and figured I could probably get a quick meal off of one of them. And I thought I would probably be having in by offering them a place to fuck.
What?
That didn't work real well.
No, obviously it didn't work well. What the hell's the matter with you?
Oh, like you would do better.
I wouldn't approach two people at once.
Okay, you guys have seen the worst feeding that I've ever done.
Well, you've never come feeding with me.
So, that being said, I'm short on blood sometimes because I'm very bad at feeding. Feeding in a social setting like that.
There's a reason I put all mine into coins and stuff.
Right? I've been short on blood for sex sometimes. You get excited, you lose track.
It didn't feel dull like you said it would. I don't know if maybe that's because I don't have anything human to compare it to, but
I don't know. Wynn's the only one here who could speak to the difference between the two.
For me, it's duller than it was.
You know what, oh god, this is a terrible comparison, but...
Lay it on. Let's do this. Terrible comparisons. Bring it on.
Do you remember
No,
when...
stay here, Neil. We're in this together. She reaches out and takes his hand.
I'm still kind of mostly not talking about sex. I guess I am, but it's, Do you remember when Ramirez brought us that garbage pizza?
Yes.
And it tasted like ash,
Yes.
but still kind of like pizza?
Mm-hmm.
It's part of the curse of Cain.
Is that normally how sex feels? Like ash, but still kind of...
Yeah, that's...
It's more emotional than physical.
Speak for yourself. I have good sex.
Okay, well, you only get to do it once every 10 years, so I don't know what to tell you.
Oh, buddy. Oh, dude.
I guess what I'm trying to say is that it felt really real. And, I don't know if I'm getting kind of distracted by... Look, I'm trying to keep and follow my heart.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that those maybe are in conflict with each other, but I don't know if I could do either without doing both. And Neil, maybe yours is less complicated than mine. Maybe you really need to go see Nora.
It's something I've been wanting to do for a while, but the world keeps ending.
But that's the point, right? Like, that's... Even if my feelings and letting them grow and exploring them with someone that maybe I shouldn't, but I want to, and it feels... All of it, the feelings, the physicality, it feels real. It's the end of everything, so it's the only time we have left. It's the only time that we have left to talk to each other here like this, and for me to see if the pull that I feel, even if it's stupid, even if it's towards the same person who's done terrible things to me, to us, to a lot of people, maybe the end of the world is really the only time that we have to do something as crazy as fall in love with someone, anyone, to reach out to someone, anyone, and when I know you're scared of losing yourself, but you know, I don't know what the full blood bond feels like, but I know that I didn't stop loving you guys. I didn't stop loving my family any less when I was twice bound.
But what we thought mattered less.
It's more like I found ways to justify. It's not that I didn't...
Look, to me, right, all of this, and I see what you're saying, but that's all. You can't be honest about doing it if you're not living in the moment, at least when it comes to sex or love or whatever it is. It's a very grounding in the moment thing, in my experience. And ever since the new year, I've been living in the future, and I can't stop. So I don't know if that's going to happen for me, but if it can happen for you, you know, maybe you're right. Maybe seize it for a little bit. Just keep in mind, I don't know if I've ever felt what like love actually is for real, but so long as you keep in mind, the you're right. Our time is finite, and if that's where you want to spend it, then spend it. And I think that's okay. And whether or not people judge you for it or think you're making a mistake, I mean, people have thought I've been making mistakes for 30 years, and you'll learn to live with it and enjoy what you can. So if you're going to do it and you're going to do it, then I don't know, stay safe, I guess, as best you can. I mean, none of this is safe. We're all going to die.
Inspiring words as always.
I would say specifically someone who says, I'm capable of an atrocity, but I didn't do it, look how good I am, is not actually doing a nice thing. And that's sort of, I guess, my last piece of advice in regards to that. Not doing an evil act is not an act of good. That's all.
If you want to go with your gut on this, let your heart guide you, go ahead, have fun with him, but don't get so lost to it that your head can't pull you back. That's all I'm saying. I trust him not to hurt you. Kind of.
Yeah, he's going to make a lot of threats against us to get you to comply in the future. That's just on the table. It's going to happen. It is happening. I mean, it literally happened last night, right? So, just because he makes a threat doesn't mean you have to comply. Like, follow your heart, but yours, not for our sake or his. Don't sell yourself for his redemption or our lives.
I'm always trying to keep track of myself. It's hard to do when there's not a lot I know about myself. A lot of it I've found with you guys. Not just my past, not just trying to figure out who and what I am and where I've come from, but who I am now. And I hold really tightly onto that. I don't want to lose myself. I feel like I work really hard at it, and I feel like it just kind of keeps on getting more difficult.
It's going to get more difficult forever. It's just a compounding weight. The stones never stop being stacked. Ever. So.
I guess at the end of the day, I'm, greedy. I want to spend as much time with you guys as I can. And I want to try and have enough good, just as much as I can pack in, because right now Miles and Johnny, they're in a meeting that is gonna pull us closer and closer to a war we can't do much about. I guess I'm just trying to find as much happiness as I can until then.
Then why don't we get out of this bathtub and go watch a movie on the bed?
Okay.
Depending on how that meeting goes, we might only have 1 or 2 nights left.
Miles, Johnny, the two of you are accompanied by some of the most dangerous kindred in the Camarilla. And to you, Miles, a question has been posed. And as you consider that question, you are confronted by the ghastly sight of the bones of your sire and the iron circlet dignitas that he once carried proudly, a symbol of his loyalty to the Ventrue. Sound fades away in that moment and becomes difficult to focus on anything else.
Grandchild, I have a great many resources available to me, and I offer them to you should you demonstrate the wisdom to properly use them for this war. What aid do you wish?
Now I'll take that frenzy check.
Spending a willpower. I assume it's self-control
It is
difficulty.
eat.
I will have 1 success
Due to the willpower.
due to the willpower.
Oh.
It's a good spend.
You hold on.
Closing his eyes, looking away, getting back to the question posed to him. I would be amiss, grandsire, if I didn't at least pose this as a possible solution to the rebellious acts of the Sabbat. But they know of the army coming to New York. They know of our actions to defend ourselves in New Haven. Instead of attacking New York, we should solidify our forces in New Haven and remove all of the pieces that they will be sending there. There are many that are interested and will be taken off guard by our sudden and inexplicable change of tactics.
Grandchild, such sentiment is the flaw of the Bruja, not the Ventrue. The only value that New Haven brings is its proximity to New York. We didn't come this far for tertiary prizes.
Johnny steps forward and just kind of quietly into Miles. I'm sorry for giving you that ridiculous plan, my prince. and kind of nods and then steps away.
As I said, I was sure that it had been at least considered and wanted to make sure all of our bases were covered.
Right. Anyway, Connecticut has multiple SWAT teams, police forces, heavily armored and with sufficient weaponry. 50% of these resources across Connecticut will be redirected to you. You will hold the night. When the day comes, they will begin raids on the Sabbat, who are attempting to hold New Haven. That will buy you some time. It is my gift to you, my boy.
Thank you, Grandsire. That is all I need, is a little extra manpower, a bit of supplies.
There's this noise that sounds like a fucking tractor trailer outside and someone just leaning on the horn.
What the hell is that?
Mangi lets go of your hand and steps out of the room.
A disturbance, Grandsire. We are investigating.
Find out what it is. I have another meeting to attend to. The rest of this conversation is tabled for now. I will contact you when I am ready.
Johnny nods at Miles and will head to go with the group investigating the sound.
Karsh stands up and he looks to Miles as if intent on sticking by you. Those of you who are not in the meeting actually also hear this blaring horn.
The hell?
Britta has let out a tiny yelp, immediately looking around as if the sound is in the room.
We'll go over by her reading window.
Should we find the others? Or at least look for what that is?
She'll go look out the window to see if she can see if there's a truck outside leaning on the horn.
There is a truck outside. The driver's side door is open. There is a woman leaning into the truck on the wheel, and she's smoking a cigarette. She has pitch black curly hair, these dark eyes, very tight leggings that kind of leave nearly nothing to the imagination, knee-high boots, and you quickly recognize that it is Lucida leaning on the wheel. Accompanying her and kind of standing out towards the gate holding these roses is a man who is wearing this kind of tattered purple suede suit jacket, and you recognize him to be Kabir. In addition to the two of them, there is a Bruja who is very muscular, kind of thick beard, strong jawed, and is wearing a black turtleneck and chain, who also leans against the truck smoking a cigarette. He is accompanied by the also very attractive young Bruja Maya, and rounding out this group of individuals who are all gathered out towards the gate is Xavier, who is wearing like this kind of tan detective's like trench coat. Piling out of the back of this tractor trailer is a number of the Bruja that you recognize from the rave that had taken place very recently. A lot of them are wearing body armor, they have guns, chains, spiked bats, and seem to be giving off this very rowdy presence.
Holy shit, what are they all doing here? And Wynn just opens the window, jumps out, and starts running towards them.
What?
So look, the second story went...
Okay, Neil, help me down.
Like, what? I grabs Anna to help lower Britta down so she can drop safely. And then just stands in the window like,
Britta holds her hands up for Neil to put his feet on if he wants to
there's
get
a door.
Then go.
Look, I'll meet you guys. Jesus.
Wynn is charging over. She is so glad to see people. To be reminded that there is a world outside of this fucking house.
Kabir greets you, hugging Wynn, and he kind of shoves these flowers at you. They're very much gas station flowers, and he says to you, "Your job sucks."
Very much so.
In very dramatic fashion, he dips Wynn and kisses her, and this group of miscreant vampires hanging out outside kind of has this kind of frenetic, excited energy as some of you guys come outside. And Amaya coughs. And
Wynn holds up a finger for 1 minute. Just give me a minute while she's still making out with him.
Weather speaks up. We don't have that kind of time. And
she'll kind of like pat Kabir for him to stand her back up.
Kabir does.
Okay.
He obeys. Weather speaks up and says, the Sabbat are attacking.
Like now?
Now. We need leadership on site. And if Roman Pendragon, if his grace intends on moving on New York, that force has to get going now.
Okay. Wynn kind of looks to the assembled group.
Roman Pendragon steps out. He is accompanied by 20 or so of his own men who very much so have what the fuck is this expressions on them. But when Roman hears that the attack has begun, he looks more vexed by the situation than angry.
Does Johnny arrive at this point?
Johnny is here. You come out right around when Kabir finally stops kissing Wynn.
Once Johnny sees who's arrived, big old grin crossed his face. Well, sucks to hear about the Sabbat, but I'm glad to see all you guys. How you doing, old man? I'll go over and...
He hugs you. John, if we move quick enough, we might be able to save some lives.
Glad to hear it. By the way, about the rant in your car. He kind of looks down and sighs, and then fishes around in his jacket and pulls out a pair of keys. I still have my old Chevalier in the storage unit.
I'm not a fucking monster, Johnny. He shoves you back the keys and says, you might need that.
Johnny puts the keys in his hand and rolls, and closes his fist around it. It's yours until I can earn it back.
Fair enough.
Wynn will pull out her phone and dial Miles's number.
Miles, your phone rings.
Is Karsh just staring at me still?
Yep.
And Lucinda also staring at me still?
Nope.
She also left?
Nope.
Or she's just not paying attention to me?
She is typing away on this laptop.
Got it. Miles, noticing his phone going off, looks at Karsh, kind of points at it.
Answer your phone.
Gives him a thumbs up. Takes it out. Miles here.
Hey, there's a whole bunch of people here. Weathers is here. Kabir's here. Amaya and some of the Anarchs are here.
Any particular reason?
Yeah, the Sabbat have started attacking.
All right.
And the attack on New York needs to start now.
All right. Thank you. I will be there soon. Closes it. It looks like the attack on New Haven has started by the Sabbat. We're being advised that the attack on New York needs to start now.
Her power, Justikar Lucind, looks up from her laptop to Karsh, and she says to him, I've seized control of JFK. If we can redirect Prince Pendragon's forces to the airport, we can get there in time to take advantage of this. Karsh considers, Ardestad the Elder wants New York City. It will be important for the future. Contact Prince Pendragon. Make it happen. Lucind snaps the laptop shut. She and some of the entourage that she works with start heading outside to round up Pendragon and get him moving.
Is Karsh going anywhere?
No.
Oh.
He kind of sits looking at the phone setup that's on the table. He reaches into one of his pockets. He takes out this like business card and he hands it to you. On it, there's just a phone number. He points to the technology setup and says to you, call your grandsire. Inform him that the meeting will have to be delayed until you're on site and able to update him from there. He then gets up and steps out.
Indicating that I should probably do it over the big conference call thing?
Yeah, he just points at a phone. You don't get the impression that he is super tech savvy.
I got that. I don't think I understand how the conference call phone thing works either. So just gonna call him on my own phone. So I break out the cell phone, dial the number given to me.
Someone answers. What languages do you speak?
English?
Someone is speaking in some language that you are not familiar with, and stop speaking.
Miles Davenport here for my grandsire.
You hear some more conversation in this other language.
I have been told to call this number to tell him that the conference is on hold until I can update him from on-site. The attack has begun earlier than predicted.
They respond in English.
Who gave you this number?
Warlord Karsh?
One moment. My boy,
Grandsire.
I am about to enter into a meeting. This had better be important.
Yes, the attack on New Haven has begun already.
Go see to it. We'll get that SWAT team over to you as soon as by morning.
I'll keep you appraised.
He hangs up.
Oh, that's done. I look around. You said there's ghouls in here, right?
A bunch of them have like split up and are going off in different directions.
As I'm going out and I kind of get away from Lucinda, I get close to the fireplace. I'm like, can you pull that out of there?
Yes, Your Grace. And they like reach into
you can use
the
a
fire
poker.
And they pause, actually almost like relieved that this wasn't just some evil act for your amusement. And with the poker, they will get out the slightly warped pin.
I will grab it and I will pocket it and I will go to meet up with my coterie.
Outside, there's the chaos that's described. Britta seems to be trying to take it all in. Occasional flashes of pink on her cheek if she catches sight of Lucida, but nothing that lingers too long. There's way too much going on.
Just because it's a big crowd and lots of things tend to gather when there's a big crowd. Is there anything gathering in the Shadowlands or the Umbra?
You do not see anything out of the ordinary there.
Okay.
Warlord Karsh comes out, and there is a very sudden sense of unease from your friends. And Warlord Karsh scans the group. It has been indicated that the Sabbat has attacked much sooner than intelligence suggested. Is that true?
Johnny, checking to see if anyone's speaking up, realizes that this is probably on him and squares off with Karsh. It is.
Really? And then Pendragon gives you a look. Yes. My men in New Haven just confirmed.
A grateful smile that Britta tries to hide as soon as it pops up.
Then you know what to do. He steps away, and there's this moment where him and Xavier lock eyes.
Karsh?
Yes, Karsh and Xavier. And then, just as quickly as he had walked out, he steps back in and is gone. Lucida looks to the group of you. We have to go now if we're looking to help people.
Okay. Johnny, what are the areas that are going to need the most defense?
We'll talk about that on the way down to New Haven. We'll start loading up.
I think I come out at that point and I'm like, all right, I guess. Hopefully you have room for 5 more.
We do.
I'll run and get some weapons and supplies. Stuff from you guys' rooms.
We'll be ready in 5.
Don't worry, I'll look at the floors. And Britta goes to gather people's stuff.
Will'll
doing
go
as
with
she
her.
says and making sure to not get entrapped.
Johnny will look over to Pendragon and kind of walk up where he can kind of like talk to him a little bit quieter than you normally would. Why do I feel there's a whole set of tactics going on right now that we haven't been let in on?
He leans in close and says to you, there is no way the Sabbat have struck. Your friends are liars.
Johnny kind of mulls all that over. Well, thanks for saving my life back there. Hopefully I'll live long enough to return the favor sometime. And he'll start heading over towards the vehicles to start loading up.
I figure Britta and Wynn are probably pretty quick to come back. Mm-hmm. Maybe loading up first from Wynn and Miles's room?
Yep. They didn't bring much with them. It was a pretty grab-and-go kind of trip. It was basically just a duffel bag.
And I think really the only stop is... Neil, can we grab your stuff or do you need to?
What's...
Anything from your room?
I didn't have any. It was just the clothes you brought, and I'm wearing them. And
Do you have all your fanny pack gear?
I didn't have that in the first place.
Weird.
We ran from the Haven when Lucinda called. I didn't have time. My things are at Miles.
Okay.
Let's get this show on the road.
There's some clapping when Miles comes out. Maya calls out, "See something inspiring."
Well, we've known it's coming for a long time, and we're as prepared as we can be under the circumstances, and we're going to show all these weird religious fanatics that New Haven is not a place for them. Let's go protect our home.
Kind of seeing that it's about time to start piling into the car and heading out, Britta turns and goes to find Pendragon.
When she finds Pendragon, he is being fitted for his armor, his red coat. You recognize the case that held the sword he had shown you guys earlier, and he is essentially getting ready to fight. While he is getting ready to fight, you notice he is standing in a very complex ritual circle, and his vassal and some of the young Tremere that associate with him are performing a ritual.
Britta hesitates, not wanting to interrupt the ritual, kind of trying to lock eyes and...
Speak. He commands as Zacharias Slain performs the ritual.
We're about to go, so I wanted to wish you luck in New York.
I ask that you reconsider.
If I come to kiss you, will that interrupt the ritual?
Zacharias Slain says, very likely. But as he goes to say this, Roman Pendragon says it doesn't matter.
Britta tries her best not to step in any of the occult lines or powders, but...
Give me a Dex plus Athletics roll.
Okay.
There's a
No,
lot.
that's fair.
Your difficulty is 8.
Does graceful apply?
Yes.
One success. There, I got 4 ones.
One success is one success. What's your athletics?
My athletics is 3, my celerity is 5, and my...
Yeah, your dice pool was
Dex-
13. Yeah.
And I got no 10s, but I got the 1 success.
Britta tiptoes through this intricate circle without moving a single grain of salt or any of the various other ritual components that were used to arrange the circle. And once in the center, the Bruja that you've moved to embrace leans down, kind of looming, and pulls Britta into a kiss.
Britta kisses back, taking the full moment. I'll see you after. After our fights.
Is all he says. Go.
Maybe give me a hand so I really don't mess this up.
He sort of just kind of lightly grabs you by the belt and just pulls you up, sets you down outside the circle.
That is effectively what she meant, so she sends back a smile and runs back out to join the war.
Once outside, the group of you scramble into vehicles and rush off towards New Haven to go and repel the alleged Sabbat incursion that has already begun.
When they're in the vehicle, Wynn pulls out the phone that Slain had given her and dials presumably the only number that's in there. Waits for an answer.
Wynn,
Check Raven's pockets.
thank you.
Yeah,
He hangs up.
so does she. And she kind of leans back in the seat, still not sure she's done the right thing, but time is running out to make any choice at all.
Getting back to the cars, Britta is shrugging on the red leather jacket that Johnny had given her so long ago, that she's been carrying around effectively since they got back to Pendragon's mansion. She sees Wynn putting down the phone and she says, I guess this is the only time you really have to try to call up allies, right?
If we can call it that.
Johnny is inside the cab of the truck. Who's driving?
Lucida will actually pass you the wheel.
I'm honored.
Well, I owe you guys one.
Johnny takes a Morley, pops it into his mouth. So what the hell are you all thinking?
Well, It's a long story.
Path of Night is a Vampire the Masquerade podcast set in the world of darkness. Britta Ashcroft the Toreador was played by Rebecca Steigelfest. Johnny Saxon the Bruja was played by Garrett Gabbey. Miles Davenport the Venture was played by Tim Davis. Neil Foster the Malkavian was played by Rob Muirhead. Wynn Cabot the Gangrel was played by Erika Webb. Your storyteller was Lex Lopez. Recording by Rebecca Steigelfest. This episode edited by Rob Muirhead. The music used in this episode was composed for Path of Night by Brian Metolious. Find him online at brianmetolious.com. Path of Night uses the 20th anniversary edition of Vampire the Masquerade with a few limited house rules. Vampire the Masquerade and the World of Darkness are owned by Paradox Interactive. Make sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. We can be found on YouTube at youtube.com/@pathofnight. You can help support the show on coffee.com/pathofnight. Find us on twitter.com/pathofnightpod, on facebook.com/pathofnightpodcasts, or email us at pathofnightpodcasts@gmail.com. See you next time, kindred. I just didn't think about the laser minefield.
Slane has a, like, what the fuck expression.
Part of that ritual?
No, it's just part of his gear. He is planning to wield that sword in combat.
Gotcha.
Does she get to add her celerity to this?
It is
Her
a dex
unspent?
roll. Yep. No pressure.
This is how you kill Pendragon.
It's in the end of the episode. She's just like, got him.
Long game succeeded.
Pendragon defeated.
So feels like now that I have my fucking Bruja skin suit and the Sword of Enoch, final boss fight, everyone.
Start playing Sephiroth music.
Bro, you're my bro.
It's like guys, happening in Hartford.